Welcome to Paperrock Live. It's another Sunday where ain't no capping on this show. We wear no makeup. Hello, I'm here with my beautiful partner, Jenna. Jenna, how you doing, baby?
I'm doing well, and for the record, I am wearing makeup because if not, it would
You
be a
made
hot
makeup?
mess.
I never see you with makeup. I thought that was your pretty skin all this time.
It's called concealer because I have those panda bear eyes. But I appreciate the compliments,
You look
Liffy.
beautiful all the time.
Thank
to
you,
me.
I appreciate that.
Happy New Year, darling.
Happy New Year to you as well.
It was 2021.
Thank God. And I'm not going to say this whole, looking forward to it and, new year, new me. I'm not even going to go into it because I just want to process day by day. I don't want to make any false ambitions that, who knows what's going to happen. So just happy and healthy to everybody. We're getting things started off right. Despite this disaster that was the election and still is a problem, I am looking forward to Donald being pulled out by his feet in about 2 weeks. And with that said, politics is something I've always been passionate about.
I was making jokes this morning with my girl. I was like, if this was Jamaica and Trump played that and didn't want to come out the house, somebody would have went to the front. Hey boy, for come out. They'd have dragged him by his pinky toe. Hey boy, for come out of this house here, sir.
You gotta go.
Government, I want to make sure we introduce before we start talking smack. The reason why I think today's guest is very important is because whereas we just saw the presidential, I try to refrain from cursing during the set, but when you look at the nonsense that took place with the election and all the state-to-state issues, it's nice to know that we can do something local with respect to the city. We won't bash anybody just because this is something we hope will be seen by numerous people. And whereas I've been here my whole life, some mayors are better than others, and because I've seen what I've seen and I'm living what I'm seeing every day, I do hope for change and positivity and someone who's realistic and can commiserate with what we're going through. So here I'm proud to say that we're sitting with Miss Jocelyn Taylor.
Yay!
Thank you, guys.
Beautiful.
And she's one of the many mayoral candidates, which the election's right around the corner. Is it next?
Yeah,
is it next September? Is it September, October?
Well,
the
it's
primary?
in June. They
Right.
moved the primary up to June. So it's June 21st this year. So it is literally right around the corner where we thought that we have so much time to be able to, get it together and think about what we want to do, think about who we want to support. The time is now. It's here already, because you see how quick 2020, even as bad as it was, how quick it went, right? So June will be here before we all know it.
Speaking to this, I wouldn't have found you if it wasn't for a hashtag or I'm a stalker. I definitely follow certain people's pages, and I came across your information and I didn't.
Super stalker.
I'm a super stalker. I am, but it works. It works
In a
to my
good way.
advantage. In a great way. In a great way. So I came across your page and I found so many things that you were kind of standing for that it hits home for me. Homelessness is just, I can't take it. And again, being here for decades, I can say that now. I've never seen it this bad, except like the late 80s, the mid to late 80s. I mean, it's so tragic. It's depressing. Like, I don't mind being home. I don't mind being at work, but it's the whole getting to work where you have to pass the stores that are closed and people who are like laying everywhere. Is that something that's personal to you as well, or is it just something that you feel has to be fixed to start the ball rolling with getting New York back on track? I mean, is it personal or is it business?
I
or
think
both?
it's a combination of both, because I grew up in New York all of my life, right? And we're supposed to be at a time where we're seeing all of this housing being built. And I have to tell you, I've been living in Bedford-Stuyvesant for about 8 years now. And I think what really hit home to me was when I started going to the train station sometimes, and I'm seeing homeless people actually building shanties on Nostrand Avenue.
Yeah.
While we're continuing to build all of these luxury buildings. And I said, what's going on? How are we spending $3.2 billion a year on homeless services, and yet the number of people who are homeless continue to increase?
Well, I would say, honestly, we're living in a world of business, and business is going to happen whether we're here or not here. Business continues. And before, homeless people, right, I used to look at it like, okay, things can happen. Money can get low. Landlord don't got to care about you. You know what I'm saying? They don't owe us nothing. You know what I mean? But where's the humanity? Like,
Exactly.
where's the humanity in it? Then you have a lot of people that is healthy like you and I. I feel like once we wake up in the morning, any day above ground is a blessed one. So you're highly favored and blessed, right? Would you agree with
I
me?
agree.
So when a person like that is moving around and they can move and they got their ligaments and everything together, and you homeless, you a man. You know what's up. You know how to survive out here. You from New York. New York is a big old concrete jungle. But we learned survival. God gave us that power. It's called common sense. Okay? And a lot of us see a lot of signs, but nobody paid no mind. So
Yeah.
you end up in that situation. And then the more you end up in that situation, you go into the government for help. Right? So now they get enough. And he sees a way, I can keep these people at control. Like this. So, in order to make change, we have to make change within the people first.
Yeah.
Okay? Because me and you could sit up there and talk that all day long. If they don't want to do it, they ain't going to do it.
Yeah, and I think that, my cousin, she started an International Day of Purpose, and one of the things she said at her first event was that we can't be our best selves by ourselves. And if this
Facts.
pandemic hasn't taught us anything, it taught us how we're all interconnected. And if you're not okay, I'm not okay.
There you
Right?
go.
So we have to be a resource. You might have the ability to start a business and know how to do it and do well, but somebody else doesn't know that. And if we're not being a resource to each other and helping each other to be our best selves,
So,
and looking at the system, because you said something very important. It's about business, but homelessness cannot be a business. We can't live in a world where businesses are predicated on other people struggling.
That's correct.
But-
It's time for that to end.
But that's how us as individuals feel. The powers that be will look at you and I in our face and tell you nothing personal. It's business.
It still can be business, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the homelessness thing for me is this: there's like 50-something thousand. Now it's children.
It's more than 50,000.
Back in the day, it was 30,000 and change children. Now it's like 50-something thousand just children. 75,000, I think, total homeless people in New York City. That's it. And through the Lucerne and different hotels, which it made sense back then. They weren't making money during COVID, so let's pay the hotels. That sustains them. Homeless people are taken care of. Cool. But instead of spending X amount of dollars per month, per day, like $121 per day, like find them an apartment, situate them, try to reassimilate them to society, get them a job, have a program for that. It's a whole other level of jobs, not just welfare, and it's a whole other level of jobs where you're mitigating here to here. How do we get there? How do we maintain it? And you have a certain obligation to stay here rent-free because it's cheaper. And then I'm also helping the landlords who are having a hard time getting rent paid. So I'm filling apartments that are no longer able to be rentable. You know why? Because you're not working. So this way, let's bring the money back, and everything is city-owned, right? So you find something city-owned, and it's a wash.
Yeah. And recently when I was on a homelessness forum, one of the things that I said is that even though we're in this pandemic, there are situations, we're looking at the fact that a lot of people are no longer going to be working in office buildings. We got to utilize this to take a look at situations and see what we're going to do with that space. The last thing we need to do is to continue to build luxury housing that no one can afford.
There you go.
And I get what you're saying when it relates to everybody has 2 hands and 2 feet and, can get up and do something. But you'd be surprised how many people who are homeless that are in shelters that are working every day.
Still working.
It's not just people who are not working in shelters.
And I understand we can get like this. Number one, in 2 ways. One, you're stubborn, or you have family, and family costs to live, to eat. You're responsible for all of this life, and I get that. My thing is, okay, a team wins. Okay, I have a certain part of my family. Our best friend is us. My cousin, my auntie, my uncle. Any friend that I would call my friend I know over 10 years is no longer a friend. They done probably slept over the house, ate mama's Sunday meal, everything. You are now family. And if I have a great idea, I met you tonight, right? Personally, right? I got a great idea. I said, oh, I know Miss Taylor. I'll go over there and go, yo, listen. I got this idea, and it sound good to you. Like you said, connect, right? Now we connect. Now we build something for other people that they can enjoy, they can learn from. Okay, you wanted to learn how can I be the mayor, because I see things need to be changed, right? In your teens, you was doing your teen thing.
Exactly.
In your 20s, you was doing 20 and plenty.
Oh, we ain't gonna talk about
No,
that.
Let's speak to motivation.
But my thing is, you had to learn.
Yeah.
And when you learned, you caught sight. And when you caught sight, you caught vision. And then you started to build. And whatever you build, believe me, the people will come.
What was
Yeah.
your inspiration? Speaking to building and the whole spiel, like how did you did you just wake up and say, you know what, I can't take this anymore? I also know that you're a black business owner. Is that
Yes.
right? So that also tells you you have a lot of knowledge that some people don't with respect to how to build a business, the paperwork, how dynamics of business itself works, structure and team and managerial, like the whole structure from A to B. So that's part of being a leader. That's the ground foundation. So you obviously had that under control. What made you shift and say, I want to do politics and just make a change? What was the mic moment for you?
The moment for me was when, let me go back a little bit. I started a nonprofit organization, New York City MWB Alliance, to assist minority and women-owned business to get access to opportunity. Because the city spends $22 billion on the procurement of goods and services every year.
22 billion.
$22 billion. By law, 30% is supposed to be spent with minority and women-owned businesses. That's not happening. And if it was to happen, it would change the dynamics for minorities and women and families in this city. Because then you would ensure that the diversity of dollars going into the pot matches how those dollars are spent. And people can have money for like housing, to send their kids to a good school, for health care, all of the basic needs that everyone, I don't care who you are in the city, state, or country, deserves to have. So, when I met with various elected officials and various people, I got a lot of every reason why something can't happen.
Right.
And I don't buy that, because we live in this world. Everything that's going on right now did not happen by osmosis. We created this.
That's right.
We created homelessness.
That's
We
right.
created a failing education system. We created an inequity.
We got you. We got you.
Healthcare system. We created it. So when I sit with them and they tell
that
me,
right there, what we didn't create it, but the powers that be that created, for them, it's called business.
Yeah.
And that's my whole thing. Let me show you.
I get that.
I'm so swimming with you with it. I'm so in tune with you. And for them, it's a business. To us, it's a horror flick. Okay, it's a horror movie. They don't care.
And that's why, Michelle Obama said during the time with George Floyd, and even Barack Obama said around the election, that with everything going on, that we all have our role that we play in this.
All gotta play a
right?
position.
Some people are out, they're protesting. Some people are writing letters. Some people are getting people together to vote.
Right.
And some of us have to step up to leadership positions. Because at the end of the day, if you meet with people, you will get to know, if you talk to them enough, that they're just everyday people like me and you. We put them on a pedestal.
Facts.
But a lot of them don't even have solutions that we need.
Exactly.
And who's going to step up and say, you cannot be in business of making other people's lives miserable?
Big
That's
facts.
just not okay. It's
facts.
not acceptable.
Yeah.
I went to a march down by the African American burial ground by Lower Manhattan.
Oh, God, yes.
And we marched from there, we marched to City Hall. And when we got there, I said to them that it's great what we're doing. You always have to come out and you have to lend your voice. But right now, we're standing outside the building.
Right.
And the decision makers are inside.
Right.
If we want to see different, we have to be the decision makers. I'm ready to create the change I want to see, just like we created all of this.
The thing with that is, and the reality of that is a sad one. You know why? Because as long as we know in history, especially our people, anytime we speak truth, anytime we take a stand, it's all we have to war for it. Life has to be sacrificed for that to happen. We're gonna lose people for anything that we want on those levels. And it sounds crazy, but it's just the truth. It's been happening. I've been watching this since a little boy. Our father showed me history stuff with Martin Luther King and stuff when he was a little boy. It repeats. It rapidly repeats. And I always have to ask myself, why? Why? And it's bigger than the politics stuff. It's bigger than that. It's more spiritual. Why?
Yeah.
And then it's broke down to these little businesses like the politics and this and who owns land and who gets this and that. It's like it's never gonna stop.
But you know, the thing about it is this. We have been fighting for a very long time.
And we're going to continue until we cut the head of the snake off.
Certain, things in this country.
Yeah.
But we got to take a step back for a minute and rethink our strategy. Because we're fighting, but we got the wrong boxes in the ring. It's
Big
time
facts.
for some of them for us to tap them out and send in somebody else.
There you go.
We can't keep doing the same things in the same way and expecting different results.
Exactly.
Why is it? It should no longer be acceptable for us to think that in order for us to get what we want, somebody has to lose their life. This is America.
Yeah. But for the beast that we're facing, for the type of beast that we're up against, it's going to be that. And oh Lord, I pray to the Almighty that it could be what you're saying. But the reality is, on this thing that we call Earth, it's going to be a casualty. They're not going to give it. How they say it in business?
Speaking to realities, though, and
how they say it in business?
What?
It's like business, because I told you this world is business,
opposite
right?
course of doing business.
So you don't get what you don't get what you deserve. You're gonna get what you negotiate.
That's correct.
And that's that.
That's true.
Nothing else, and that goes with everything in life. This is chess, not checkers. And when they say that, it's true. If you learn chess, you will see the politic game, life, period. Everything is in that. And I sit there. I'm gonna be 50 next year. Okay, and I'm just letting you know, like, I feel like I was fooled. Half my year, or half my life, I'm just fooled. But once I start learning and seeing, I said, for real? So I went through this book, I went through that book, I went through that book, and that book. And it was dissecting this one question I want. And it dissected for me. And now I know what's up. So yeah, we're gonna need like 100,000 of you to make this happen. You know what I'm saying?
And it starts with one.
I was about to say, we have one person here, and the reason why I love the fact that you're here. I'm black and white. I say what I want. Just
You on that? To me, you're on that train with Michelle Obama, Miss King, and the other black women that stood front line to get things changed.
which is
And
not going to be
somebody-
easy. This is my question. This is
And
what I
none
want to
of it
ask.
wasn't easy for them.
This is my question, because we spoke about different things with Floyd and Taylor and everything that happened last year. Going into 2021, you will be responsible for NYPD. You'll be responsible for the protocols and the guidelines that everyone in the city has to follow, which is a tremendous responsibility. It encompasses you having good relationships and a good understanding that your team is key, which is what he was speaking to. As a black woman, knowing that the African American and, as you would say it, because what was the Latino, I don't want to get cut, if you're not white, anybody but being white, okay, that community, what do you have in your mind? How are you going to go in and kind of fresh, here we are, and set the tone where, not that we're going to be besties, but the respect is there? Because just like, we want to be respected, we need the cops as well. So I don't care how thugged out you are, if you're getting shanked in an alleyway, you need help. So you want people to be able to respond to you and take you seriously the same way.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel like you're going to go in and kind of...
Well, I think, first of all, it's not just your leadership, but it's the people that you surround yourself with. You got to surround yourself with people who their goals are aligned with yours.
Correct.
right? So that's going to be the most important thing. And then it's going to go back to actually building community and teaching people how to take their power back in a positive way, because that's very important. You know, we talk about defunding the police or reallocating funds from the police.
That's stupid.
And, you know, but the thing about it is this: policing is reactive. What if we had a proactive approach to what we want to see, right? What if we invested, you know who, I said it before, you know who's not going out there committing crimes every day? People who have a decent job to go to every day.
That's
That's
right.
right.
We're going to create these
right.
programs. These programs have to be result driven. They have to have measurable goals so that we know we're being successful. We can't just put these kids in programs and then they don't lead to anywhere,
Trade
because that's
schools.
only going to frustrate them
That's
and
right.
get them back out on the street saying, telling their friends, yo, don't waste your time with that. That's a waste of time. We have a lot of things that could need to be done in the city. We gotta, if you go in East New York and you look at them streets, we could hire 152 people right now to go out there and clean them streets.
I'm sure you're aware that HUD has a program. I found this to be crazy. I found this like 4 or 5 years ago. That NYCHA, if you're in that particular project, to minimize back and forth to work, they have a program where they're supposed to hire you as like an apprentice, bring you in, okay? It's like after 3 or 6 months or something, you get your certificate, and now you're able to make a full bank. And my hair's up, and I just feel like the projects are so, I'm gonna mess up this word, dilapidated, how you say it? So, you know, you can bring people in and help them build up their own their buildings, communities. Then I'm not gonna be
Exactly.
peeing on the stairwell because this is my property.
And a vested interest. And that's why I want to look at bringing more home ownership opportunities,
Oh, God.
especially in NYCHA, because you treat something differently when you own it. And we have to have ownership, especially in minority communities and communities that are struggling, because that's how you're going to build wealth and legacy going forward.
You know,
We
when I-
can't keep doing
like
the
that.
same thing.
Yeah, you're right.
So what are you talking about? Like, and I'm not holding you to this because we're just, you know, shooting the breeze. Do you see that potentially happen? Because people like, you know, Parkchester, Co-op City,
Rochdale.
okay,
Right.
So it's interesting, and whereas maybe it's one building at a time.
Exactly.
Okay, and these are condos, and because you have prime real estate, these are the projects have prime real estate. I mean,
They're
I don't
all
care
by
what
subways. They're
the
all,
beach,
yeah.
the trains, the
And
Central
that's
Park,
why they want to give it to developers, right?
and you can't do this. And the fact is, again, we won't speak to anybody who's currently in office, but you know who you are. And I'm just devastated by the minimalization of the affordable housing. And I'm right below, you know, I'm like right below that middle class. I'm like, you know, the poor rich kind of. I don't qualify for anything, but I'm supposed to pay for everything. So that's crazy. So it's like I look back on my life and I go, what a loser. I should have had 4 kids before I was 21 years old, been collecting a check, free food, WIC, health care. You know, I make cakes in my house, I make piñatas, and I make money there, and I sell my food stamps. And I'm hustling the whole time, and I'm caking off. Instead, I go to work every day like an idiot, you know what I'm saying? And I pay health care, and I got to figure out child care, and I got to pay for groceries like a moron. I'm the only idiot on the line for C-Town, paying, you know, either, and it's usually a credit card. I'm overextended, especially at Christmas. So you have to say to yourself, what is the opportunity cost of being proactive and trying to do your best? And I only have 1 child because you know what? That's all I can afford. That's it. I live within my means. Most people try to. There's always the extent that I had a baby, you know, my husband left me, I'm a battered wife. Like, there's things that do happen, and that's why there's a system there. The system's not there for you to live off of it for decades. Do
Yeah.
you see yourself doing anything with that at all?
But we have to look at things honestly. The system is designed to keep people in that situation. Okay?
I just said,
My-
that's what I was saying. I
Yeah,
just want everybody
it's
to know.
designed. It's not about the person that has the EBT card. It's about the person that owns the supermarket, right? Because they're making all of the money from the EBT cards.
There you go.
So that's how the system is designed. Look at Walmart, right? They don't
Medicaid.
even pay. Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't even pay their employees enough.
I want to say, can I say this? I feel like that everything that we complain about now, it's all been a plan for now. You know, start with education. Okay. I know when I went to school, and I could speak for you, her, everybody in this room. When we went to school, we learned how to work. We learned how to work. We did not learn how to be entrepreneurs. We did not learn about mutual funds. They didn't tell us about, listen, save $1 today. Don't look, stocks, look, But these things existed. This is why I was wondering, how come this little Jewish kid in my hood with the two things right here, he a kid like me, but he's nowhere in my school. Nowhere. I'm like, what school is that? I go to his school. Each kid in that school looked like him, and only him. Not me, not you, not her. Him. I'm saying to myself, I'm going, okay. So my Jewish friends, as time go on, we get a little older and stuff. They speak to me. They let me know a little secret. You know why? Because it's too late.
You can't change it. There you go. Say it again.
It's too late.
It's too late.
Right? So now
that's how I've heard this conversation. Go ahead.
This is why they give us social media now. So what? It's rather two things you're gonna do. No, three things.
Expose
Believe it. Be mad. You can't do nothing about it. Or you're gonna say, "Oh, that's bull. Oh, please." When it's so the truth. Oh, bull. Because they know that's what people gonna do. Okay? So when you hear the madness and you see the madness and they put in your face and you telling people, yo, that's so real. But it's only 10% of us going, that's so real. 90% is going, that's that bull. Oh, please. Don't tell me.
I work for a Jewish guy. Okay. What I love about being black and white is when you're sitting down with certain people, they forget you're black and or forget you're white. Right? So mid-conversation, they're going on a tangent. You're looking at them going, this is how you really feel. So it's true. Then they kind of have to catch themselves like, Jay, well, I'm like, yeah, I know, I got it. So I was out to dinner, lunch rather, with my boss, who I love to tears, one of them anyway, I have many bosses. And when you're sitting down, he's talking, he says, it's so funny. He goes, with black folks, they don't want to do certain things that white folks have to do. So I said, okay, cool. So he says, whereas some white folks should want to pick up black folks, you know what the attitude is? It's easier for my son. It's less people to compete with. When he said that, I wasn't even thinking along those lines. I don't give a shit. Why am I going to help you beat my kid? And you know how they look at it? Because this is how I look at it. Because we should be forming our own divisions. And I have something about Kobe. I don't know if I should say it because I don't want to be a problem.
But that's what I said. The Jewish kids was learning different education.
Working together.
They have, and let me show you something. Hey, I love my people. But God be so hard-headed sometimes. Like, you go to Canal Street, you see how the Asians and they together. Everybody have quarrels. But They own stuff. They run it. You go through this part in the city, you could go, this is Chinatown. You go down this block, you go, this little Italy. You go down this one, you're like, the Germans and the Russians around here. You can identify. And then when you come with the black people out, they tell you, oh, this is the hood. This the hood.
Right.
This ain't, you know why? Because for some strange reason, people like you who teaches us, you doing what the Bible say, each one teach one and all that, okay? And then you get a handful of people to listen, and you say that's where it starts. And I agree with you. You walk, you talk, you do it, and you live like that even individually. You're not just talking, you really walk this, right?
Yeah.
So did Jesus.
Yeah, and you got to be an example of what you want to see.
Jesus told everybody what's up. Just like you, people like you, they tell everybody what's up. And he got the same response, just like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and so forth. Idi Amin and so forth. And everybody.
We're going to change that dialogue, though, because...
Why you feel that?
What do you mean, because guess what? This is somebody... Right. And
I'm just saying, watching, I'm going to show what they have in common. Let me finish what I was saying. She is teaching and showing people the right way. She is trying to show them how to better their life, business-wise, the way of thinking their life, period. the same thing Jesus was trying to do. That's all I'm saying. She's walking that way. And then you have some people that listen and some people that is just not. And the hurtful part is it's always somebody that look like me and you.
Yeah. And, I think part of that, too, is just the things that people have been, put through. And it's hard to get hope back. It's hard to get purpose.
Yo.
It's hard to feel like it could possibly happen when you've gotten your hopes up so many times and it didn't happen. But let me just say this. That's why my vision for the city is different.
Why you go so hard?
Because I go so hard because I'm tired. Listen.
You're human. You had your hopes go down. But why you stuck to it? You know why? Can I tell you why?
Why?
Because on a tree, every apple, we all red, but they ain't all sweet. That means everybody ain't all strong. Some of us is weak. Some of us was born to be builders. Some of us was born to be destroyers. Some was born to be stupid. Some was born to be smart. We need one to teach one. That's what that is. And there's nothing else to talk about. When you have the same strength and the same blessing as God has gave us all, you make your individual decision. That's the thing he gave us, choice. You make choice. And of course we could lose hope. That's why we have people like you and psychiatrists and everybody that could talk to them to make them feel better. We all need that shoulder to lean on. But no matter how much you talk to me, if I don't do it, it's not going to work.
Yeah. And I think, though, we're at a moment, though, that we got to do more than just talk to people. We have to give people a vision, and we have to really give them opportunity.
They got to start.
And that's why I have the vision of turning nature developments into ownership opportunities.
I like that.
Because that'll change the dynamics. That's why I have a vision to create true affordable housing and stop building all of these luxury buildings, and we're talking about $15 an hour and $2,000 rents. We have to create housing based upon we know what people can afford. That's how you're going to I could show people better than I could tell them.
Boom.
Right? If I show people that we have enough money in this city and we need to do this, because the thing, especially with housing, is that once you give a homeless person a house, you don't have to give them another one.
There you go.
If you take care of somebody and you make them whole, you don't have to do it again.
Well, I know.
And that's why
they do that in Dubai.
Yeah.
They do it in Dubai.
Why I have a vision. I want us to stop. It's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have. I want us to stop spending money on things that don't meet people's needs. We got to take care of people first.
How about this? The realtors are paying right now. Everybody who built all those ridiculous luxury apartments in the city, they're all holding their breath. They want to shoot themselves. And one of my main questions for you, and this is a very, to me, serious question for people who, I'm still working in New York, I'm still living in New York, addressing the deficit. Okay, speaking to housing and all these white folks like, oh my God, COVID, New York, let me go move. Everybody moved. Greenwich, they're in New York, Jersey now. We're Atlantic Beach. We've moved. So addressing the deficit, loss of income, because most people have lost their jobs. Let's say 25% of New Yorkers lost their jobs between Broadway and restaurants and catering and stuff. So addressing the deficit, loss of income and sales tax, compounded with residents fleeing by record numbers. How are you going to close that deficit, that budget? Because a lot of the money comes in through tolls and things like that. I'm not coming to work. I'm staying home. As you mentioned, businesses are not shuttering, but just transitioning to a more virtual model. So how are you going to mitigate that? Like, New York is a ghost town. So I would like to know, again, this is prelim, things are still in the air, COVID's a major factor. How, we don't even know where we're going. That's the sad part for you. It's not like you're coming in and we know what the problem is and everything is stagnant. Things change by the moment. So as of right this second, what is your game plan to mitigate that gap?
Well, my mom always told me growing up, it's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have, right? So you got to understand, too, businesses are going to be saving money because they're not going to have office space. Okay. There's going to be instances where the city is going to save money because they're not going to have so many spaces as well. So we got to look at the impact. There's going to be a negative and a positive. And although there might be a deficit, one, we got to make sure that the federal government steps up to the plate and does their part. Because the reality of the situation is it would be very idiotic of us to keep continuing paying more than we get back when we need the money ourselves. It's like when you go to child support, right? If you start making less money, you go back to the courts, right? And you say to them, listen, I need to get an adjustment. I'm not making as much money. Well, we need to go back to the federal government and tell them, listen, we got something going on right now. We can't give you as much money as we've been giving you. Right? So we definitely need to have those conversations and negotiate it. But there's so much, you thought there was pork in that bill that they did with, the stimulus. There's so many opportunities in this city where we can create efficiencies.
What would you cut? Where would you cut?
Let me tell you, the first thing that's going to go is the $11 billion for new jails.
Hello. Okay, and then
$11 billion for new jails that nobody argued about. To build 2,500 new cells. That's $4.4 million for one jail cell.
How much is it per? Is it like $30,000 a year? What is it per inmate? Do you have
$337,000?
Oh, I missed the zero. You heard what I said. I heard 30,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we're gonna cut that because we shouldn't be spending $4.4 million on a jail cell. When we have homeless people and we have people who need apartments.
That's astounding.
So how many other instances do we have where we're spending money because it is about business? We got to understand that every day, regardless, we're all investing in the city, state,
I'm just
in
saying.
the state.
I'm saying like this, okay? Like I'm so with this, what you're saying. I'm cheering it on. It has to start with the people.
It does.
The government is not going to do it. I don't care how much we chat, talk, walk, march, torch, starch, farch. It's not going to happen. It has to start happening with our people. Like, for instance, artists, rich ones. Who we got? We got the Jay-Z's, we got the Puffy, all the guys that's close to billionaire status. Don't you think by now that for other entrepreneurs that we could get together, why we ain't open our own bank yet?
They're not messing with their money on the white end, and I mean that. And my thing is, we had an issue with Don Sterling 5 or 6 years ago in the playoffs. My father is white, and he says all they had to do is what they did in the '69
You know what? I don't even
playoffs.
At this point in life, it's not even about if it's black or white.
It is.
It's not. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Please say. Go ahead.
Can I say what it is?
Please, of
I'm gonna
course.
tell you what it is.
Go ahead.
Good and evil. That's what it is. Good and blood. Sorry. Good and evil. You're gonna make me come up with spin. Good and evil. Watch this. Let me tell you something. Let me explain something to you. There was never a thing, race, this color. The Almighty made people. We have humanity. Okay? I know some real nice white people. I know some beautiful Chinese people. I know some beautiful Indian. Name it. I travel the world. I met some real good people that treat me nice with respect. The same, the blue eye, pale skin, blonde hair people you talking about that might be look racist as soon as you see them, they skinhead. They treated me like a king.
That's because you're a split star. And let me tell you, I'm serious.
Let me say this, please.
Please.
No. The thing about it, I would say that if I met them at a show, but I didn't, and they didn't know what I do because they don't listen to my kind of music, and they didn't see my video. It was just the energy was right. They was in Miami for a vacation. The energy was right. They met me once, and we've been friends for 12 years now. These people are beautiful. Your father, he's a white man, but he's nice. He show us love. He treat everybody like if it's his son, his daughter.
You know what he says to me?
His heart is different. His heart is different. He didn't go by the system way of looking things. The love in him is
Spliff.
too.
This is the reality. Listen to me.
I'm dealing with reality.
Listen
I'm not
to me.
dealing with. I don't like to deal with.
A lot of black folks I know.
If we take care, all I'm saying, if
Go
we
ahead.
take care of our own,
Yes.
that's why I call my food foundation the FOOD, fueling our own development. Because you have to start with your own.
But race has to be addressed.
Oh my God, let me explain something
Race
to you.
has to be addressed because that's a big piece of it. And the reason why is black folks are more nervous of the cops than white folks, and that's just the reality of things. When Breonna Taylor and the whole George Floyd thing came out, my father, you know what he said? He goes, I'm scared to go outside because all people, they don't know I'm a cool white person who has black friends. My father was nervous about going out, and this is another true story. I was in Brooklyn going to the Cash Money concert, getting my nails done on Nostrand, and Amadou Diallo's verdict came out, and obviously we know what it was. I was scared
How
shit.
your father felt for the
You hear me?
How your father felt for the moment is how black people be feeling every
But
day of
that's-
their life. So wait a minute. Like I said, okay, that's how it is. But that's not what it really is. It was something that was, like you said, created.
Correct.
That's all I'm saying.
Correct, you're right.
It was something created.
Absolutely.
Okay? And you listen, man, my white friends, I'm very sure their parents, then their grandparents and their great-grandparents think totally different compared to what these kids think.
And those are the people we need to hear from. The racist, old ass motherfuckers.
Guess
We
what?
need to. I want to. You know what my dream thing to do is? Outside of Run Nitro, that was my dream job 5 or 6 years ago. I have a whole thesis on what I would have done. I'm not even kidding you. I would love to go. Me and you can do this. We're gonna do this. I want to go to nursing homes and see the oldest motherfuckers. And these are the ones who have no friends, no family. You know why? Because they cut off. They never had kids. They were racist. They lost half their family. I want to go to a nursing home and get Mabel, white or black, interview her. Because, you know, there was white and black Maples and whatever. Let's interview these people. How do you feel? Because guess what? You next to the person you can't stand in a nursing home having dinner and crumpets. Go kill yourself.
Yeah,
How
but
does
the
that make
same
you feel?
The same person that they grew up to learn to hate because of the color, because of the hair and everything, took care of them. Showed them more love than their own daughter, their own family. You know why? Because our people was made in the likeness of God himself. And what are we? Acceptance. We have acceptance for everybody. It's just in us. It's nothing that have to be planned, put together. It's not part of a system. No, it wasn't created. It's in us to be that acceptance. And it's been like that since we was officially them king and queens, and we's living that way. Before the Christopher Columbus slavery and the Randers pillage. But in their system, we learned that, he discovered America. In their system, they didn't tell us the Haitian people beat Napoleon booty. They didn't tell him that they beat him up. Napoleon was supposed to be another discoverer or whatever, this and that. No, these people were thieves, murderer, run, pillage, savage. Okay?
I got a question for you.
What's up?
Okay. So knowing that there's people like her
Right.
who are striving to get to the next platform,
Right.
a lot of artists have that platform that they desire.
Yes.
What are your suggestions for her to increase her fan base, 1, 2, to increase her awareness so that she does have a platform where more people can be aware? That's your realm. So what are your suggestions to her? Because we need people to see more of her. And I'm going to be a psycho. I hope you're aware of that. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to be all over this for you.
me-
And
No,
I will
I
talk to
appreciate
Ms.
it.
in the
I
background.
appreciate
I
it.
need to be all over this.
Let me say this. You know what people love? People love when somebody is them. People love when somebody's themselves.
Okay.
You're not
Yes.
just reading a teleprompter. You're not just saying what you think they want to hear. Black or white, you are human. And when you have humanity, they can identify. They feel it, they see it, they hear it. It's a reflection, mirror. That's what works for every individual, for every ethnicity. Mirror. Okay? Like you say, they created the situation for that man to go kill another man. They created the situation for that man to go sell crack to that man. They created the situation for me to go kick in the door at New Orleans. They created the situation for that black man to look at his black queen and go, use the B word, B word, B word, and the N word, N word, N word. Before, when I was growing up, to talk to a girl, Marvin Gaye and all of that was talking about, hey, baby, you're beautiful, you're sweet. Hey, girl, I love it. LL was like, hey, when I'm alone in the kitchen, I'm in the back of my mind, I hit, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we was talking to the girls, right? Tender love, all that was rocking. And that's how we was talking to the girl. He was writing the letters with the little check, everything, right?
Do you like me? Yes or no?
Right. And then,
I have a question.
pause it.
So
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
And then the powers that be, the system says, these guys get too much, they're getting too smart. I don't like it. Black people want to read books and stuff like that. You know, they always say we want to hide something, put it in the book. Right?
Oh, yeah, hello, I do it all the time.
Right? We want to hide something, put it in the book. So they say, they're getting too smart. We can't be having people like X-Clan, the power of the S, and telling black people how to be bosses and how to be leaders and kings and queens. Or we can't have the LL Cool J guy. He's too clean. No. We need some, like big butts and I tell them no lie. We need Luke in them. But at least they were party. And then it got more dangerous. The music started changing the volume. More kids a generation. Now it's, hey yo, you my B. I love you, B. Hey yo, suck it, kiss it, touch it. What the? Bow. How much records you heard? Bow. If every fan could get hit by bow, guess what? We dead. Ain't nobody buying your album. You done shot everybody. So that's my point. It's the system. And then you could go and complain about that, big, make it on the news, everything, and then look at you and let you have your 15 minutes of fame. But you have to understand, baby, this is business. This is business.
Well, you know what? Every business sometimes has a going out of business sale.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to put some things out of business. Cause
some things are going to
let
stay
me tell you something. At the end of the day, it's on us. You know, I'm tired of us having these same conversations over and over again. At the end of the day, it's on us if we want to change it. It's on us. And we have to. I can't leave this mess to my son. I can't leave this mess to my eventual grandkids.
Yes,
right? You know, having these kids grow up with no hope because they'll never be able to afford to find some place to live.
I'm going to let you know that ain't going to happen to your son. Because, see, that's what I'm saying. Reflection. It's not going to happen to your son. Because when he look this way, you know what he sees? Righteousness, positive, queenness, kingness. This is the thing he follows because it's around him. He's adapting to his environment. He's adapting to the environment. Yo, listen, man.
Wait, we're not signing off yet.
Oh,
we're not signing off
please
yet,
don't do that to me.
I'm just saying, I had to
You know I'm light skinned. I'm deep. I'm going deep with my sister right now.
Anyway, tell
deep
people,
with my sister right now.
you need people to support you on a platform, and not only that, but financially. What can they donate?
They can donate, and I have a huge deadline coming up of January 11th. It's very important. I need to meet the campaign finance board
How much is
requirements. Trying to raise $250,000.
That is courtesy of Paperrock Live and Urban Variety.
Oh, wow. Thank you
very
so
much.
much. I have to have you guys fill out a form for this.
That's okay.
You know, got to make sure it's right.
Let me tell you something. We have a couple of sponsors tonight, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't take care of them.
Yeah.
Reverse Hate has always been outfitting me for the longest.
Shout out.
He sent you shit, but you gave it away, and we'll leave that alone. I'm also wearing, is it WB? WB merch. You know, I paid full price for this shit. Let me just tell you something. It's $20 a fucking hat, and it's the best $20 you ever, you know, for this to fit on my forehead, let me tell you something. This is it's great. Urban Variety sponsors the show every week, whether people realize it or not. So if you need a commercial, and we'll talk about this, commercial, video, blah, blah, blah,
whatever
interview,
you need.
name it, prices are reasonable, but you got to come with a fucking budget. I hate these people, right? Nobody wants to come with any money. I want to kill myself. Happy New Year again, Spliffy Poo. Jocelyn.
Happy New Year to
Yes.
you, Ms.
Okay,
Taylor.
thank you very much.
Thank you. And they could go to my website at taylorford2021.com. Please make sure you follow all of my social media at taylorford2021.
That's your Twitter?
Invite your friends.
What's your Cash App? What's the Z? But what's the how do we
Because this is a campaign, you can't Cash App money. You have to go on the site, and you have to do it via the site.
I'm gonna
Or if
cash
you
app
give
you.
cash, you have to fill out a form for it.
I'm gonna get the form from you. That's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah. Taylor42021.com. Please come out and support. Like I said, the deadline is January 11th.
Is it Taylor number 4 or FOR?
FOR.
Okay.
Taylor, FOR, 2021.com.
Okay. Listen, shout out to S.STREET Media, because without S.STREET Media and Math and SOS and the whole team behind the scenes, I would be doing this in my kitchen. Anyway, we'll be back in 5 minutes. I have people on deck. And shout out to Gio behind the scenes and Leo, who's been putting up with us for quite a while. And we're taking a break, okay? Be back in a second.